Ganesha Kumara Pahi Mam Gajamukha Ganesha Kumara Pahi Mam Gajamukha Ganesha Kumara Pahi Mam. Om Gam Ghanapate Namaha. Welcome to Mother Media Bhakti YouTube channel. My name is Preetha Srinivasan. Om Shri Sairam. My humble and lovable pranams to your wonderful lotus feet. Today we all are going to recite the 7th chapter of the Sai Satcharitham. Before reciting, let us all surrender our egoism, evil thoughts, adamancy, bad behavior, dishonesty, everything under our Sadguru's lotus feet. In this chapter, Hemad describes about the wonderful incarnation and behavior of Saibaba and his yogic practices. Incarnation means a person who embodies as a deity or a spirit. Saibaba knew all the yogic practices. He was well versed in the 6 processes including Dhauti. Dhauti means stomach cleaning, and also by separating his limbs and joining them again, and Samadhi, etc. If you thought that he was a Hindu, he looked like a Yavan. If you thought him to be a Yavan, he looked like a pious Hindu. No one definitely knew whether he was a Hindu or a Mohammedan. He celebrated the Hindu festival of Ramanavami with all due formalities and at the same time permitted the sandal procession of the Mohammedans. He encouraged wrestling booths in the festivals. When the Gokulashtami came, he got the Gopal Kala ceremony duly performed, and on Eid festivals, he allowed the Mohammedans to say their prayers, which is namaz, in his masjid. Once during a Muharram festival, some Mohammedans proposed to construct a tazia or a tabut in the masjid, keep it there for some days, and afterwards take it in the procession throughout the village. Sai Baba allowed the keeping of tabut for 4 days, and on the 5th day, got it removed from the masjid without the least compunction. Compunction means a feeling of guilty. If we say that he was a Mohammedan, his ears were pierced, that is, had holes according to the Hindu customs. If you think that he was a Hindu, he advocated the practice of circumcision, which is removing the skin for a man or a boy, which the Mohammedan practices. If you think he was a Hindu, he advocated the practice of circumcision, that is, through according to Mr. Nana Sahib Chandokar, who observed him closely. He was not himself circumcised. If you call him as a Hindu, he was always lived in the masjid. If you call him as a Mohammedan, he had always the duni, the sacred fire there, and the following things which are contrary to the Mohammedan religion, that is grinding on the handmill, blowing of the conch and bells, oblation of the fire, bhajan, giving of food and worship of Baba's feet by means of arghya, that is water, were allowed there. If you think that he was a Mohammedan, the best of the Brahmins and Agnihotris, leaving aside their orthodox ways, fell prostrate at his feet. Those who went to make enquiries about his caste were dumbfounded, and they were captured by his darshan. So none could definitely decide whether Sai Baba was a Hindu or a Mohammedan. This is no wonder, for he who completely surrenders himself to the Lord by getting rid of his egoism and body consciousness, thus becomes one with him, and has nothing to do with any questions of caste or nationality. Baba saw no difference between any 2 castes and even between beings. He took meat and fish with fakirs but did not grumble. Grumble means complaining in a bad-tempered way when dogs touched the dishes with their mouths. Such a unique and wonderful incarnation was Sai Baba. On account of the merits in my past birth, I had the good fortune to sit at his feet and enjoy his blessed company. The joy and delight I derived therefrom was incomparable. In fact, Sai Baba was pure Anand and consciousness. I cannot sufficiently describe him, his greatness and uniqueness. He who took delight at his feet was established in his own self. He knew the inmost secrets of all, and when he gave expression to them, all were surprised. All people considered him as God in Shirdi. Behavior of Saibaba. Ignorant as I am, I cannot describe Baba's miracles. I got almost all the temples in Shirdi repaired. Through Tatya Patel, the temples of Shani, Ganapati, Shankar Parvati, village deity and Maruti were put in order. His charity was also remarkable. The money he used to collect as dakshina was freely distributed. Rupees 20 to some, rupees 15 or 50 to others every day. The recipients thought that this was a pure charity money and Baba wished that it should be usefully employed. People benefited immensely by having Baba's darshan. Some became hale and hearty. Wicked people were turned into good ones. Leprosy was cured in some cases. Many got their desires fulfilled without any medicine being put in the eyes. Some blind men got back their sight and some lame ones got their limbs. Nobody could see the end of his extraordinary greatness. His fame spread far and wide, and pilgrims from all sides flocked to Shirdi. Baba had his asan near the Duni and always rested there. He sat there in meditation, sometimes without a bath. He used to tie a small white turban on his head and wear a clean dhotar round his waist and a shirt on his body. This was his attire in the beginning. He first practiced medicine in the village. He examined patients and gave medicines. He was always successful and he became famous as a Hakim. Hakim means doctor. A curious case may be narrated here. One devotee had his eyes quite red and swollen. No doctor was available in Shirdi. The other devotees took him to Baba. In such cases, other doctors would use ointments, anjans, cow's milk and camphorated drugs, etc. But Baba's remedy was quite unique. He pounded some biba, that is nuts, and made 2 balls of them and thrust them on each eye of the patient and wrapped a cloth, that is bandage, round them. Next day the bandage was removed and water was poured over them. The inflammation subsided and the pupils became white and clear. Though the eyes are very delicate, the biba caused no hurt but removed the disease of the eyes. Many such cases were cured, and this is the only one instance in this regard. Baba's yogic practices. Baba knew all the processes and practices of yoga. 2 of them will be described here. That is Dauti Kriya, cleansing process. Every 3rd day, Baba went to the well near banyan tree at a considerable distance from the masjid, washed his mouth and had a bath. On one occasion, he was seen throwing up his intestines, cleaned them inside, outside and placed them on a jam tree for drying. There are people in Shirdi who have actually seen this and who have testified to this fact. Ordinary dauti is done by a moistened piece of linen that is 3 inches broad and 22.5 feet long cloth. This piece is gulped down the throat and allowed to remain in the stomach for about half an hour for being reacted there and then taken out. But Baba's dauti was quite unique and extraordinary. Khanda Yoga. In this practice, Baba extracted the limbs from his body and left them separately at a different place in the masjid. Once a gentleman went to the masjid and saw the limbs of Baba lying in the separate place. He was terrified. He first thought of running to the village officers and informing them of Baba being hacked to pieces and murdered. He thought that perhaps he would be held responsible. But as he was the first informant and knew something of the affair, so he kept silent. But the next day, when he went to the masjid, he was very much surprised to see Baba hale and hearty as before. He thought that what he had seen the previous day was only a dream. Baba practiced yogic since his infancy, and nobody knew or guessed the proficiency he had attained in it. He charged no fees for his cures, became renowned and famous by virtue of his merits, gave health to many a poor and suffering person. This famous doctor of doctors cared not for his interests, but always worked for the good and welfare of others. Himself suffering unbearable and terrible pain many a time in the process. One such instance I will relate now, which will show all-pervasive and the most merciful character of Saibaba. Baba's all-pervasiveness and mercy. In the year 1910, Baba was sitting near the duni on Diwali and warming himself. He was putting the firewood into the duni, which was burning brightly. A little later, instead of pushing logs of woods, Baba pushed his arm into the duni. His arm was scorched and burnt. This was noticed by an errand boy, Madhav Rao, and Shyama. They at once ran to Baba, and Madhav Rao clasped Baba by his waist from behind and dragged him forcibly backward and asked, "Deva, why you have done this?" Then Baba came to his senses and replied, "The wife of a blacksmith at some distant place was working the bellows of a furnace." Bellows means it is a device which an air bag that emits a stream of air. Furnace means it is a heavy fire which even a material can be burnt. So her husband called her. Forgetting that lady left her child from her lap. She got up hastily and the child slipped into the furnace. I immediately thrust my hand into the furnace and saved the child. I do not mind my arm being burnt, but I am glad that the life of the child is saved. This is what Baba said. Leper devotees service. On hearing the news of Baba's hand being burnt from Shyama, Mr. Nana Sahib Chandokar, accompanied by the famous doctor Paramanand of Mumbai with a medical outfit consisting of ointments, lint and bandages, etc., rushed to Shirdi and requested Baba to allow Dr. Paramanand to examine the arm and dress the wound caused by the burn. This was refused. Since that day, the burnt arm was dressed by Bagoji Shinde, a leper devotee. He was a leper. His treatment consisted in massaging the burnt part with ghee and then placing a leaf over it and bandaging it tightly. Mr. Nana Sahib Chandokar solicited Baba many a time to unfasten the bandages, get the wound examined, dressed and treated by Dr. Paramanand with the object that it may heal fast. His arm to be examined, Dr. Paramanand's medicine were not exposed to the air of Shirdi and they remained intact, but he had the good fortune of getting the darshan of Baba. Bagoji was allowed to treat the hand daily. After some days, the arm healed and all were happy. Still, we do not know whether any trace of pain was left or not. Every morning, Bagoji went through his program of untying the bandages, massaging the arm with ghee and tightly bandaging it again. This went on till Saibaba's Samadhi, that is death. Saibaba, as a perfect Siddha, as he did not really want this treatment, but out of love for his devotee, he allowed the Upasana, service of Bagoji to go on uninterrupted all along. When Baba started for Lendi, Bagoji held an umbrella over him and accompanied him. Every morning when Baba sat near the post close to the Duni, Bagoji was present and started his service. Bagoji was a sinner in the past birth. He was suffering from leprosy. His fingers had shrunk. His body was full of pus and smelling badly. Though outwardly he seemed so unfortunate, he was really very lucky and happy, for he was a premier servant of Baba and got the benefit of his company. Sai Ram. Master Karpade's plague case. I shall now relate another instance of Baba's wonderful Leela. Mrs. Karpade, the wife of Mr. Dada Sahib Karpade of Amaravati, was staying at Shirdi with her younger son for some days. One day, the son got high fever, which further developed into bubonic plague. The mother was frightened and felt most uneasy. She thought of leaving the place of Amaravati and went near Baba in the evening. When he was coming near the Vada, the Samadhi Mandir, in his evening rounds for asking his permission, he informed him in the trembling tone that her dear young son was down with plague. Baba spoke kindly and softly to her, saying that the sky is beset with clouds, but they will disperse and pass off and everything will be smooth and clear. So saying, he lifted up his kafni up to the waist and showed all the present 4 fully developed buboes, as big as eggs, and added, "See how I have to suffer for my devotees. Their difficulties are mine." Seeing this unique and extraordinary deed, that is his Leela, the people were convinced as to how the saints suffer pains for their devotees. The heart of the saint is softer than the wax. It is soft in and out as butter. They love their devotees without any idea of gain and regard them as their true relatives. Going to Pandharpur. I shall now close this chapter after relating a story illustrating how Saibaba loved his devotees and anticipated their wishes and movements. Mr. Nana Sahib Chandokar, who was a great devotee of Baba, was a Mamlatdar at Nandurbar in Khandesh. He got an order to transfer to Pandharpur. His devotion to Sai Baba bore fruit as he got an order to go and stay at Pandharpur, which is regarded as Bhuvaikunda, that is heaven on the earth. Nana Sahib had to make immediate decision, that is immediate charge, so he left for the place without even writing or informing anybody at Shirdi. He wanted to give a surprise visit at Shirdi, his Pandharpur, see and salute his Vitoba, that is Baba, and then proceed further. Nobody knew of Nana Sahib's departure for Shirdi, but Sai Baba knew all about this. As his eyes were everywhere, omniscient, as soon as Nana Sahib approached Nimgon, a few miles from Shirdi, there was a stir in the masjid at Shirdi. Baba was sitting and talking with Mahalshapati, Appa Shinde and Kashiram. When he at once said, "Let us all four do some bhajan. The doors of Pandharpur are open. Let us sing merrily." Then they began to sing in chorus, the bhava of the song being, "I have to go to Pandharpur and I have to stay on there, for it is the house of my Lord." Baba sang and the devotees followed him. After a short while, Nana Sahib came there with his family, prostrated himself before Baba and requested him to accompany them to Pandharpur and stay with them there. This solicitation was not necessary, as the devotees told Nana Sahib that Baba was already in the mood of going to Pandharpur and staying there. Hearing this, Nana Sahib was moved and fell at Baba's feet. Then after getting Baba's permission, Udi, that is a sacred ash, and blessings, Nana Sahib left for Pandharpur. There is no end to Baba's stories, but let me now stop here, reserving for the next chapter other topics, such as importance of the human life, Baba's living on alms, Bijaboy's service and other stories. Bow to Sri Sai, peace to be all. Om Sri Sai Ram. Om Shirdi Vasaya Vidmahe Sachidanandaya Dhimahi Tanno Baba Prachodayat. Shirdi Vasaya Vidmahe Sachidanandaya Dhimahi Tanno Baba Prachodayat. Shirdi Vasaya Vidmahe Sachidanandaya Dhimahi Tanno Baba Prachodayat. Om Sri Sai Ram. Thank you all, and please keep watching our Mother Media Bhakti channel and post your comments and feedbacks.